My name is Jerry, and I left MAGA. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the differences that I brought up. Okay, so I did this random thought video yesterday talking about narcissists, and a question was brought to me about how many members, how many people in MAGA are narcissists, and there's some differentiations. All right, so within the MAGA structure, and specifically within the New Apostolic Reformation, where Doug Wilson comes from, narcissists are drawn naturally to an authoritarian structure. Then there's individuals who may have narcissistic tendencies, but keep them low key because they're outnumbered, so to speak. Their behavior is not societally accepted within their community. Those are the individuals that are more easily enabled into behaving badly, being more narcissistic. Then there's some individuals that are egged on, encouraged to be more violent, more domineering, more aggressive. And that's where you start getting into like groupthink and mind traps, like I've seen in MAGA. Now, going back to my experiences as a live streamer, there have been individuals that I've run into that are definitely cult leaders within the greater cult. One in particular that I can think of, it goes by the online handle Pastor Shadowley. He claims that his streams are spiritual, and he calls his collective, his little digital environment, the Pond. That harkens back to Pepe the Frog and Kyrgyzstan. In fact, Pastor Shadowley is the one that tried to recruit me into Kyrgyzstan. Before I started going, wait, what's going on here? What have I gotten involved in? What's going on? Then, like I said, there's the individuals who found themselves able to get away with things because it had already been normalized by the narcissists in control. And then there's that third category I was mentioning, that where individuals are encouraged. I'm sure you've probably seen it on the playground in elementary school, or may even have witnessed it in high school. The bullied bully's victim, and then there's a fourth category. There's a fourth category that are those individuals that were born into or raised from a very young age in that environment where it's all normalized. And with the bubble being culty, like the Assemblies of God Church is, we are in the world but not of the world. And that leads you to this elitist thinking. And when you think that you've got the right interpretation of God, we have the right understanding. Catholics, we saw them as idol worshippers. Episcopalians as Catholic light. They just didn't worship the idols. Methodists, they were just doomed to hell because you don't sprinkle to baptize. That's by submersion. The Pentecost, the Church of God, or no, Pentecostal Church of God. We thought they were a bit odd. They were a bit too primitive for us. They didn't really catch the spirit like we did. Church of Christ, that was right out. They didn't even allow musical instruments in their church. So that was a contradiction to the scriptures, because God said, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. So that's why the preacher played trumpet, and we had a trap set, a drummer there, piano, organ, guitar player at one point. We had fun for a tiny little church, and that experience was short-lived. But yeah, when you're raised in an environment where it's normal to not like black people because you live in a predominantly white town, you don't really have a reference point when you leave that tiny little town and that tiny little church with so many dadgum rules. No drinking, no smoking, no dancing, no going to the movies. You can't even go watch a PG movie or a G movie, because they'd also run R-rated movies there. Although our church rented the local movie theater to run Cross the Switchblade and Run Baby Run back to back. Yeah, that never really made sense to me. But that's all those dadgum rules. Then there's the whole purity culture thing. You know, when the value of your soul is based upon your virginity, allegedly, as a child, that opens the doors for a lot of controls on one's life. So again, if you're raised in that environment, that's become normalized because of how you were raised. Unless you get an outside reference point, if you can get out of that bubble. And that's probably my least controversial idea, but I don't know how to do it. Trying to pull people out of a bubble. You can't really force them out of the bubble. This mess is so complicated. But yeah, going back to narcissists, there are some that are just drawn to MAGA because of its natural authoritarian structure. There are some who find it attractive and become enabled because they're comfortable with it from the get-go, because they have those underlying tendencies. There's the ones who are pushed into it, like at Jane Whaley's church, at Colonia Dignidad, at Roy Mercer's The Park out in Arizona back in the day. The Shakahola massacre, that was another one of those William Branham cults. And yeah, they did a lot of horrible things there. Children got hurt, children got killed, people died. A lot of people died. But I don't know. For those who are not willing to leave, for those who've just been totally blinded by it, and they're so emotionally and psychologically invested in the MAGA project, it's I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, there's a bunch of different kinds of conditioning for those who are just not naturally narcissistic. There's also evidence to show that somebody who's a natural empath can be born into a family full of narcissists and grow up with narcissistic tendencies as a survival tactic. And then when they get out of that bubble, they are able to become their true selves. They're the one that they're comfortable with. And that in my observation can be tricky for some folks. I mean, narcissists don't like losing their fuel. They will tell you all kinds of sweet lies to keep you from walking away, or to bring you back in to hoover you in. And yeah, so I don't know what the big answer is. The question was, what do I think is the likely percentage of individuals in MAGA that are just narcissistic? My question is more nuanced, obviously. And that's what I'm actually trying to research. I mean, I see a lot of parallels, and I know it's by design. I'll get to it later. But there's a lot of parallels between Scientology, Christian nationalism, and Mormonism, which makes them a rather unholy trifecta when it comes to MAGA and the infiltration of DC. I was going through those Project 2025 training videos and ran across the part, and it's like, oh, they're working this full infiltration just like L. Ron Hubbard laid out in Operation Snow White. It's going to take a lot of work. I can't do it by myself. Protest signs and chants are fun, but it's going to take more than that. I may be an agnostic, but I've got some good folk that I like hanging out with. There's some good people, and some of them I would call friend. Here at this nice little progressive Christian church, they genuinely care about their neighbor, and that, and my girlfriend's in music ministry here, my partner. But yeah, it was good to show up for service last night. We got another service tonight because it's Good Friday. Yesterday was Monday, Thursday. It was good to hang out with a community of like-minded, like-hearted individuals. I hope that you have that available. I don't know what else to say. I can't give any percentages on the breakdown of narcissists in MAGA. It's too nuanced. You've got I think it's Bill Johnson. That was the name I was trying to remember the other day. Bill Johnson, I think, at Bethel. There's Hillsong has their own course. Foursquare has their own course. Todd Bentley has his own course. Greg Locke. Oh God, I had a whole list of them and I just drew a blank. And then there's all those cats over there at Flashpoint Media. And I don't know. Since I pretty much took the day off, I needed to disconnect from the internet. Spent the day with my partner. It's been good. Spent some time with a friend on the phone, and just like connected with the world for the day. I at least wanted to get this video made and posted, and I'm gonna probably take a couple 3 hours tomorrow, put a couple more videos together. I'm leaning more towards a more light-hearted concept. Preachers say the darndest things. I don't know, that may turn into a fun little project. I don't know. Who knows what tomorrow brings, right? Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you take care of yourself so you can help take care of each other. Get the rest you need. Track those fluids. And remember, mental health matters. Learn about narcissists and try to figure out a way to defend yourself. Hopefully you're not personally entangled with one. If you are, my heart goes out to you. Anyway, till the next video, folks.